Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're cracking open the playbook for data integration. We're going to show you how to connect all those separate islands of data to uncover answers and create value that's totally hidden when your data lives apart. So let's kick things off with a big idea, right? It's one thing for your app to tell you what happened. You know, a customer bought something, a package was late, but to really understand why it happened, well, for that, you've got to connect the dots. And that's exactly what integration does. It turns a list of facts into a story that actually makes sense. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the huge problem of data silos, figure out what integration actually is, check out the tools for the job, then learn how to build a pipeline you can trust. And of course, we'll see the real-world payoff and how you can use all this to boost your career. Okay, first up, the silo problem. This is that classic challenge that, let's be honest, pretty much every growing company hits sooner or later. You know, the real problem most of the time isn't that you don't have enough data. It's that your data is stuck in all these different systems that can't talk to each other. Your marketing data's over here, your sales data's over there, and your support tickets are somewhere else entirely. When they're not connected, you're basically flying blind on the questions that really matter. To make this super concrete, we're going to follow the story of a food delivery app. Let's call them Hungry Now. They've got this expensive problem, way too many refunds because of late deliveries. They can see the refunds racking up, but they have no clue what's causing them. Is it bad weather? Are certain restaurants just slow? Is it traffic? With just one data source, it's impossible to know. And that whole problem with Hungry Now, it leads us directly to the solution. It's all about connecting the dots. To get the answer, you have to bring all those separate pieces of information together to see the whole story. So what is data integration really? Well, at its heart, it's just the process of getting different systems that were probably never meant to work together to actually talk to each other. The goal is to create one single, unified view out of all that chaos. So for Hungry Now, this is where it gets interesting. It means pulling together data from everywhere. We've got the orders from the customer app, menu info from the restaurant portal, live GPS from the drivers, support tickets from their CRM, and they're even pulling in outside data like weather forecasts and food hygiene ratings. The real magic, the real insight, happens when you finally join all of this stuff together. Okay, so we get the what and the why. Now let's get into the how, because to connect all that data, you're going to need the right set of tools. Let's open up the integration toolkit. First up, we've got the two classic approaches, ETL and ELT. With ETL, that's extract, transform, load, you clean up and structure the data before you put it into your warehouse. It's solid, great for old-school scheduled jobs. But then there's ELT, which kind of flips the script. You extract the raw data and load it in first, and then you transform it right inside the warehouse. This is the modern way, and it's perfect for the power you get with cloud platforms. Now, if you want to be way more efficient, you've got change data capture, or CDC, and this is awesome. Instead of copying a whole massive database every single night, CDC just looks for what's changed. So if a restaurant updates its menu or changes its opening hours, CDC just grabs that one little change. It's super fast and super lightweight. And for data that's happening literally right this second, you have two main options. Streaming is for when you have this continuous river of events, like a driver's live GPS location constantly updating. API integration, on the other hand, is for pulling specific info when you need it, like asking a weather service, hey, what's the current traffic like at this exact spot? Now, this slide is really where it all comes together, because it shows you the trade-offs. You don't just pick one method, you pick the right method for the job. For Hungry Now, updating hygiene scores once a night is totally fine for a batch ELT job. But if a restaurant changes its menu, you need that info fast, so CDC is perfect. And for tracking drivers or checking the weather, you absolutely need real-time streaming and APIs. It all comes down to your need for speed. So you've got your tools. But hey, having a hammer doesn't make you a carpenter, right? The next, and honestly, the most crucial step is building a data pipeline that people can actually rely on, one that's robust and trustworthy. A modern pipeline follows a pretty clear path. First, you ingest all that data from your sources. Then you land the raw, messy data in a staging area, like a data lake. From there, you transform and model it. This is where you clean it up and get it ready for prime time. And finally, you serve those clean, reliable data sets to what we call data marts, where they're ready for analysis or machine learning. Now, one of the absolute biggest risks to any data pipeline is this thing called schema drift. This is what happens when, say, an engineer on another team renames a column from user ID to customer ID without telling anyone. That one tiny change can cause your entire pipeline to just explode. The solution? Data contracts. Think of it like a formal agreement between the data source and the pipeline that locks in the structure, basically preventing these kinds of surprise changes from ever breaking your stuff. And to build that real, deep trust, you need strong governance. This means adding layers of protection. You need automated quality checks that are constantly making sure the data is complete and accurate. You need what are called SLOs, or service level objectives, that basically guarantee how up-to-date the data will be. And of course, you absolutely must have rock-solid security to mask sensitive info and control who gets to see what. All right, we've done all this hard technical work. We picked our tools, we built a pipeline people can trust. But so what? What was the actual impact for Hungry Now? What was the payoff in the end? Well, for starters, by pulling together weather data, restaurant prep times, and order info, they could finally predict which orders were most likely to be late. And by getting ahead of those, they slashed their late delivery refunds by a huge 15%. That is real money going straight back into the business. And get this, a 22% jump in the accuracy of their delivery ETAs. This is a game changer. It's the direct result of streaming that live GPS data from the drivers. For a hungry customer, this is the difference between a vague guess and a reliable countdown on their phone. It builds a ton of trust, and it dramatically cuts down on those "where's my food" support calls. And finally, they saw their customer support tickets drop by 11%. How'd they do that? By making a connection that nobody had ever thought to make before. They integrated those external food hygiene ratings with their own internal customer complaint data. And boom! It immediately highlighted which specific restaurants were causing most of the problems, letting them fix issues before they turned into more angry customers. Okay, let's bring this all home and talk about you. How do you take all these ideas and turn them into concrete, powerful wins for your resume, for your portfolio, for your career? Here's the most important takeaway. You don't just say, "Oh yeah, I know about data integration." You prove it. You frame your work around specific, measured outcomes. You say things like, "I streamed GPS data, which improved ETA accuracy by 22%. Or, "I implemented data contracts to completely eliminate pipeline failures from schema drift." Those are the kinds of statements that show real business value, and they're what will make you stand out. And that leaves us with one final thought for you to take away. Think about the data you have access to in your job right now. Where are the silos? What is the single most powerful, most valuable connection you could make between two data sources that would unlock an insight nobody else has seen? Find that, and you've found your next big win. Thanks for tuning in.